Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I want to discuss the seismic and surveying exams that you have to take in California to become a licensed PE. They're 2.5 hours long, 55 questions for those of you who don't know. Um, you take these two tests after you pass the 8 hour. Once you pass these two tests, you're a PE. So I recently passed everything last year, like the end of last year, and I just got my license. It's been like a little bit over a month. So I just want to discuss what I use to study for the two exams, and I hope it'll help you out. So I'm going to try to make this video as brief as possible because I know you're probably stressed out or you're busy studying and you don't want to go through a long video. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to answer for you. So yeah, I'm just going to briefly go over everything and hopefully it'll help you out. All right, so let's discuss seismic first, okay? There's two classes that I'm going to discuss. Number one, AEI, taught by Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim, okay? This class is $525. It includes a textbook. It includes a booklet with 3 practice exams, okay? Right here and here. You can buy them by themselves if you want. That would be $110 for the textbook, $85 for the practice exams, and then $160 for both. If you pay $525, you get both of those. You get a bunch of videos. You get 2 additional simulated exams, mini exams, workshops, and everything. So that's class number 1, okay? Class number 2 is Steve Heiner, okay? Here's his book, $128. The class itself, it looks like if you want to do the webinar, costs $585, okay? There's an on-demand webinar as well. I don't know. It says 300, or is it 545? Yeah, 545. So it's similar in price, okay? And Steve Heiner, I mean, he's super famous with seismic. I mean, a lot of my colleagues, especially the older ones, the more experienced ones, they all recommend Heiner, okay? So I'm like, oh, wow. And I know a lot of people who took Heiner and they passed. They used his textbook. They went through his webinars. You know, there's 2 practice exams in here and a bunch of multiple choice questions. So it's an excellent resource, and there's a bunch of cheat sheets too. Oh, I forgot to mention, you also get a bunch of cheat sheets with AEI as well, okay? So, what I did was I bought AEI, the course. I went through the textbook 2 to 3 times, did the practice exams once, and then I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh, like, maybe I should have taken Heiner's. You know, I just didn't know because of my first try. And so that's why I bought this book, okay? And I didn't go through it because I already went through AEI, and you don't want to confuse yourself. I didn't want to confuse myself, but I did go through the multiple choice questions and the 2 practice tests, and I think that was very helpful. It was extra practice. If I didn't buy Heiner's book, I think I probably would have still passed. So I recommend AEI. I feel like the way Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim teaches, especially if you're new to the material and you want to slow down, like you want to take it slow, this class is perfect because like his questions, they break down all the concepts. So when you take the test, it's easier because it's like one little piece of a question, or at least that's how I felt. If I didn't take AEI, I know people who took Heiner's class and they did well. So both amazing instructors, okay? But if you want to know my opinion, I recommend AEI. And if you want extra practice, buy Heiner's book, okay? So that's what I recommend, all right? All right, next up is surveying. I felt that surveying was a little bit more difficult, and the reason why is because with the 8 hour, there's EET and there's like a bunch of classes, and they're amazing, you know. And then with seismic, you've got Heiner, you've got Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim, you know, and it's just like that class is just amazing. Like seismic is not very hard if you go through those classes, but with surveying, it's just so broad, you know. There's so many different classes out there, and there's so many ways to study. There's not one correct way to study. So I took CPESR by Kirk, okay? The class is $350. It comes with like 12 hours of videos, and it comes with a thin cheat sheet book, okay? It has everything in there, and it comes with like 5 practice exams. I think one's easy, 2 of them are medium, and then 2 are hard. I feel like the 2 medium tests were very similar to the exam, okay? This class is good, but my only complaint is I don't think it's enough, okay? If you take it by itself, you might pass. I think that I wouldn't have passed if I took this class by itself. And I'm not bashing the class. I think the class is excellent. But the thing is, it's not like AEI or like a class where it slows it down and really explains things to people who are not doing surveying on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? So that's why I recommend the second class, okay? Or not class, the workbook. It's by Mr. Reza Mahalati, okay? So he has a workbook. Yeah, it's $139. It has a bunch of questions in it. It has like 5 quizzes, and it comes with 1 practice exam. I felt like after I did the CPESR course, and then when I jumped over to Reza's book, I was struggling. I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's so hard. But then eventually I overcame it, and I was able to complete the book twice. And then the CPESR, I did the questions twice. So in total, I studied for about maybe 100 hours, 150 hours. So I put in a good amount of time. But that's the route I took, okay? So $350 for CPESR, comes with the book, class, videos, 5 simulated exams. And then there's Reza's workbook for $139, comes with 5 mini quizzes, 1 main exam, and a bunch of questions. I think these 2 books together, I mean, that class and this workbook, they worked harmoniously for me. Like, it just cemented it in. And when I took the test, it was still really difficult, but I came out on top, okay? That's one way. That's what I did, okay? There's so many ways you can do it. You can take the actual civil Reza's class. You could take his class, okay? And I heard it's an excellent class. I had a buddy who took Reza's class, and that's all he did. That's all he took. He just used that book, and he passed, okay? So there's so many ways to do things. So my proposal, but I think you'll have a really solid chance of passing your first try, okay, if you study really hard and go through it. So that's what I recommend for surveying, okay? In terms of the questions, were they similar? I mean, surveying is so broad. They can ask you anything. It's the same kind of concepts, So, but I felt like Reza's book had a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of the questions were, they prepared you for the types of questions they would ask, And then Kirk, CPSR, that workbook thing, that little reference manual, was amazing. You put a lot of stuff from Reza's book into that book, and I had this like freaking reference manual on steroids, and I think you should also do the same when you're studying for all the exams. Make your own reference manual or cheat sheet. That way you know it like inside and out. But I think that's how you could pass surveying, okay? It's a difficult test, but if you study using these 2 resources, I think you have a very solid chance, because I passed. So if I could do it, so could you. So in conclusion, for Seismic, I recommend AEI, okay? Take AEI, get the course. If you have an extra $130 laying around, buy Heiner's workbook too. Go through those questions if you have time. Do his practice exams if you have time. I think if you do that, you'll pass. So AEI, go through all the videos, do the book twice, 3 times. Do the practice exams once. Jump over to Heiner. Knock those out. And maybe go back to AI. You know what I mean? That's how you'll pass Seismic. For surveying, okay? Buy the CPESR course, okay? Get that little reference manual. Go through the videos really quick. Knock out all those practice questions. Do the practice exams. Move over to Reza's book. Do all of Reza's questions. Go through Reza's book, if you're confused about certain topics, because there's more explanation in his book. Go through those, do the practice questions, do the mini quizzes, do his exam, okay? Then go back to CPESR, go back online and do his 5 exams again. And you'll notice, like, oh my God, these exams are, boom, you'll even have the rhythm down. And then when you take the actual test, you're going to kill it. You know what I'm saying? Or you might not kill it, but you'll feel good about it. So, yeah, that's how you would pass surveying. For these exams, I think it's doable. You just got to put in the time, okay? So I'm going to say 150 hours for each test should be enough for both. So that's 300 hours for those 2 tests. You can do it, all right? Just work your butt off. It's definitely worth it. I mean, I feel so relieved. I have so many things I can do now, and I'm sure you want that feeling too, okay? So please study really hard, okay? And you're going to pass. All right, everyone. Good luck, okay? This year, 2021 is your year, all right? Believe in yourself, and yeah. All right, everyone. Take care and be safe, all right? See ya.